saying?
What you heard,
girl? Me and Kenny heard that he was also dating someone in Atlanta. Shit, I didn't see her.
Okay, he's been here for the last 3 days. Where she at?
Oh!
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 15, Episode 1. And before we get started, let me just say to y'all, thank you guys so much for all the birthday love this past weekend. If you don't know, my birthday was on Saturday, May 6th, and the love that you guys sent my way was everything. I had an amazing birthday, but the sweet messages that you guys sent me, the DMs, like, I love you guys so much. And I'm just so blessed that this is such a beautiful community. Like, I always feel your support and your love, and you guys are just the best. Like, I could not ask for better subscribers. So again, thank you all so much. I definitely felt the love. I feel good. I feel amazing. We're back. You guys know it's been a busy few months. I moved. So when I tell y'all, it's just new beginnings all over the place. And I am ready to just sit down and just chat because I have a lot to talk about. This was a very solid premiere. I think that all the girls came to work. And I said, I think we might be getting that old feeling of Atlanta back, and I'm here for it. But y'all, with all that being said, let's just jump right on into this recap because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up the episode with Shereé at home, and I'm like, okay, we're starting off with the BS already. You guys know that I can't stand Shereé. I never liked her. I always thought that she had a nasty attitude, a very nasty spirit. I've never been here for her. And I think that she's the epitome of somebody who suffers from delusions of grandeur. So anyhow, she's at home. Her new boyfriend slash publicity stunt, Martel, comes over, and Shereé's gushing about how they met through a mutual friend, and it's been great. It's been smooth sailing. She's so happy. And I'm like, okay, Shereé, I don't know why you're bragging so much about being with a serial cheater. There's just no way in hell. This man dogged out his first wife, then got with his mistress. He left her high and dry. And you think that this is a great man to be with? And when Shereé said, despite what you see on TV, he treats me very well with respect. Shereé has never been too bright, especially when it comes to love. I'm one of those people who believes that never think that you're the exception when it comes to a man. If he's dogged out every other woman before you, don't think that you're special. But I said, Shereé, I'm gonna just let you cook because she's another person where she has to learn things the hard way. Now, is anybody else confused when Shereé said, even though he lives in Huntsville, Alabama, we see each other every weekend? And I said, now, Shereé, this man has 5 kids. He has 4 kids with Melody, and I think he has the baby with Ariane, the mistress. So how does he have time to spend with you every weekend? Is he seeing his children? For my Love and Marriage Huntsville watchers, do they address this on the show? Because inquiring minds want to know how he has time to see all his 5 kids and also spend time with Shereé to be this doting boyfriend. And when Shereé went on about how she just loves everything about Martel and how he exudes big dick energy, I said, no, he doesn't. Me personally, I really can't get into a man who dogs other women out like that. And the way he did Melody was disgusting. I used to watch Love and Marriage Huntsville. The show got too toxic. I had to say, shout out to everybody, I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody, I have fun.
I gotta be good.
When I did watch it, that man is a narcissist. He takes no accountability for anything. So I don't know how any woman could be attracted to him. But anyhow, he goes upstairs to change. The doorbell rings. Shereé hired a chef. Now, we know how Shereé is when it comes to paying people. I hope that chef got paid. But the chef is there. She's like, I'm going to make some Creole Cajun food, some blackened salmon with some mashed potatoes, asparagus, and my mouth was watering. I said, that's exactly what I need right now. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was so disrespectful when Martel came downstairs and he was like, oh, So that's the surprise. I thought it was something else. And he was alluding to the chef being a part of a threesome. And I'm like, Martel, you already have a reputation. You've just started dating Shereé. Why would you even say that? You don't even know this chef. So for you to even joke around like that, like you thought that she'd be down for a threesome, again, it's disrespectful. I probably would have cursed Martel out if I were the chef. Like, don't even joke like that. I don't even know you for you to be saying that. And Shereé sharing that she almost had a threesome with Bob when they were married, but he ended up having it with somebody else. I was like, what kind of relationships has Shereé been in? Her entire life, it's been nothing but L's. Now, when they started talking about Sanya and Ross's party, and he was like, well, who all's gonna be there? And she's like, well, you know, Candy and Todd. And of course, Martel's upset. He's like, she's the one who called me an opportunist. The only opportunist is your husband. And I'm like, but Martel, what Candy said is true. It might have been shady, but let's just be real. You are thrilled to be with somebody who's on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Say what you want, but when it comes to Bravo and the Real Housewives franchise, that is the Rolls Royce of reality TV shows. So this is major for you. It's good for your visibility to be seen with somebody who's on a Real Housewives franchise. So don't act like people don't have the right to question your motives being with somebody on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. We know that you are a clout chaser. You love the attention. It puts money in your pocket to have bloggers and content creators talking about you and Shereé together. So again, let's not act like Candy calling you an opportunist is out of line. If I'm being honest, it actually makes sense that Shereé and Martel are together because they're very similar personality-wise. So it makes sense that they get along so well. And also, Shereé, all this shade towards Candy throughout this episode, it's so funny to me how you shade people all the time. Shereé is very slick at the mouth. She never owns up to anything that she does or says, but yet she wants the utmost respect. And she has the audacity to be mad at Candy when Candy says one thing about her or Martel. It doesn't work that way. You don't get to run off at the mouth about me, and then when I clap back, now it's an issue. Now this next scene with Candy, she's in her office talking to Don Juan and Carmen. Carmen looked great. And I don't know if it's just me. I'm petty. You guys know that I hold a grudge. But I am surprised that Carmen is still friends with Candy because there is no way in hell that I could still talk to you if you allowed your mother to throw a shoe at me on national television. Absolutely not. I'm still holding that grudge for Carmen. And quick question, did Mama Joyce ever apologize for that? Because I'm still annoyed about that till this day. So when I tell you that Don Juan had me screaming, he was like, by the way, Candy, have you talked to Shereé lately? Because she hasn't sold anything off that website. It was another disappointment. And I'm like, when it comes to Shereé, all she does is take L's. And when Shereé was stuttering, talking about, well, my website crashing is a good thing. That means that I had a lot of hits. And it's like, Shereé, what's not clicking? Your website not working and crashing? That's not a flex, sis. Like, do you hear yourself, Shereé? Is everything all right at home? And when Candy revealed that she tried to help her, but Shereé didn't want to pay anybody, and Candy said, that's Shereé's issue. When it comes to business, she's unprepared. And she wants to pretend like she knows everything. Shereé, it's not going to kill you to pay somebody who's an expert in the field to help you out. Don't you want your line to be a success? You know that saying, you have to spend money to make money? That's what Shereé fails to understand. If you want your clothing line to launch successfully, you're going to have to shell out the money. Hire the best team possible, and you'll make the money back 10 times over. But Shereé, again, is very cheap and she's very tight with the dollar. And that's why everything around her fails, because you're not going to be successful when you're cheating people out of money and you don't want to pay. Now, when Don Juan brought up how they want to bring back Candy Coated Nights, and he was like, we're going to have to make sure that we map this out so that it's a success. And Candy started talking about how she's so busy and how her son Ace called her on the phone the other day and told her that he's tired of her working so much. Now, Kandi, I am tired of this same storyline about Kandi having 11 jobs and being too busy and feeling guilty about it and being sad about it. Kandi, you have more than enough money. You have more than enough jobs and sources of income. It will not kill you to scale back and take some time off to spend with your children. It's a bit ridiculous that you keep taking on more and more jobs. When is it enough? And I'm all for getting the bag. I am all for making your coin, but not to the detriment of your family, taking time out for yourself. I don't believe in running yourself ragged just to chase a check. I don't. And again, Kandi has a vast fortune where she will be okay if she's able to turn down some jobs. I think that Kandi is money hungry. And although she knows that she has more than enough money and she'll be okay, I think it's just the thrill of making more. We're not taking any of this with us. So you need to sit back and enjoy your life. And I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but I think that with Kandi, it's become an issue because there's no reason for her to be taking all these jobs. You can afford to say no, but if Kandi wants to keep taking job after job after job and crying about not having enough time for her husband and her children, then so be it. So Kenya and Monyetta come through, and when I tell you that Kenya looked amazing, body is snatched, giving what the other girls were supposed to have gave, but again, Kenya has always had a great shape. So anyhow, they sit down to chat and catch up. Monyetta says that she still feels a type of way because Kandi was upset with her last year when Monyetta seemed to be on Marlo's side. So she's like, everybody knows that I want to be a peacemaker. I like to get both sides of the story. And I've known Kandi for a long time. So for her to think that I wasn't on her side, I was upset by that. Now I will say, I'm curious to see what Monyetta gives as a full-time cast member. Because last year when she was a friend of, she didn't bring a whole lot. She was very quiet. I forgot that she was there in most scenes. So to see her step up since she's a full-time peach holder now, I'm actually excited to see what she brings as a full-time girl. So now they start talking about Monyetta hooking Kenya up, and Kenya had me screaming. She said, now Kandi, all the people that you know in Atlanta and you couldn't hook me up with anybody, it took Monyetta to do it. Now, if I'm being honest, I would prefer for Monyetta to set me up versus Kandi. I don't look at Kandi as some big matchmaker, okay? So I'm not that surprised that Kandi never hooked Kenya up with anybody. So now we find out that Kenya's new man is handsome, successful. His name is Roy, and they really hit it off. So Kenya's like, he makes me feel good. I feel like a woman when I'm around him. Some stuff that was asleep is awakened now. Like, I just feel so alive. I said it is about time because Kenya has been through the ringer when it comes to these men. And the fact that she is still not officially divorced from this fool, a hot mess. And Monyetta, if you're watching this, slide in my DMs and my email and let me know if you have any more friends, okay? Because Roy, yes, like, okay, like, again, girl, if you know somebody who knows somebody, like, let me know. So now they switch gears and the conversation turns to Shereé. Kenya expresses her disappointment in Kandi and Shereé at last year's reunion. Now, I was surprised because I was like, now, Kenya, you watched last season with the rest of us, and you heard and saw the nasty and vile things that Shereé said about you and Kandi. So, how could you be disappointed in Kandi when Shereé was the one who started all the mess last year? Kandi had every right to defend herself and clap back at Shereé. And if we're being honest, Shereé took no accountability whatsoever for the things that she said about Kandi last season. So I was just confused to hear you say that you were disappointed in both of them. Again, I'm no Kandi fan, but fair is fair. And Kandi has every right to check Shereé after Shereé had been so nasty to her. And I didn't have an issue with Kandi clapping back and making those spoofs about Shereé and Marlo. Because if you want to be petty with me, I'm going to be extra petty with you. So now Kenya brings up Ross's 40th birthday party, and she's curious to know if Shereé is going to bring Martel. So Monyetta's like, girl, I hope not, because the street's been talking, and I heard that he's been seeing other women in Atlanta.
Streets, you know me.
Ooh, streets been talking to you too?
Yes.
Streets said he been kicking it with some chicks in Atlanta.
Kandi confirms the tea too. She's like, yeah, I've heard the same thing, that he's been kicking it with some ladies in Atlanta every time he's here, and it's a mess. So now Kenya brings up that Martel low-key tried to talk to her too. He slid in her DMs, and they're like, wait, girl, what? Now, Kenya, you know I like you and all, but I have to be fair, and I have to call you out. This felt very high school and very petty to me. It didn't lead to anything. You didn't entertain his DMs. When you showed Kandi and Monyetta the DMs, it was clear that he deleted them, so nothing came of it. Personally, I wouldn't have brought that up. And I want to ask you guys, if a guy tried to talk to you first and then moved on to your friend, would you feel the need to say anything? Again, I wouldn't, because if I wasn't interested, then let him go and be happy with the next woman. And if that happens to be my friend, then so be it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I would not have said anything about he tried to talk to me first. Nothing happened. It didn't go anywhere. It literally just stayed in the DMs. Now, I did scream when Kenya said, did I talk to Martel? Absolutely not. Martel looks at a woman and he gets her pregnant. Now, when Kenya brought up how she had called Kandi the other day and she was upset because she heard Kandi and Todd arguing in the background, and she's like, girl, what was that about? Because one thing's for certain, I do not want to see you guys up in divorce court. You need to fix that. So we find out from Kandi that Todd is working on a movie and he feels a bit slighted because he feels like Kandi isn't helping him the same way that he helps her on her projects. So Candy's voice starts shaking and immediately she starts crying. Now, for all of y'all who claim that Candace always cries all the time, I think that Kandi might cry more than Candace, if I'm being honest. Like, they might be neck and neck. So Kandi goes on to say that it feels like Todd is forcing a problem with her. She feels overwhelmed and she feels like she wants to help him. She just doesn't have time. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I feel like Kandi has been giving us the same storylines. It's always about her and Todd at odds, about not having enough time for each other, their businesses. It's wash, rinse, repeat. It's getting stale. And let me just go ahead and just say it. If you've been watching me for quite some time, you know how I feel about certain things. I am of the belief that it really doesn't work, or that there are a lot of issues that arise when the woman is the powerful one and she's the rich one and she's the star in the marriage. I don't care what anybody says. Look at Wendy Williams, look at Sheree Shepherd, Kelly Clarkson, Mary J. Blige. The list goes on and on. Yes, Todd does have his own. He's not a bum like those husbands were, but still, I feel like it doesn't really work in a marriage when the woman has more money and more fame than the husband. I think that Todd's frustration is stemming from the fact that his wife is the major star and he probably feels like he's in her shadow. I think that Todd is annoyed that it feels like Candy's dreams are coming true and his are not. I think that there is some resentment. You might say I'm reaching down in the comments, that's fine, but I'm still standing by what I believe, that I don't really think it works when the roles are reversed. I just don't. My grandma used to always say to me, if you have 2, the man needs to have 4. If you have 5, the man needs to have 10. Pretty much saying in simpler terms, the man needs to have more. And a quick side note, since I brought up the whole role reversal, I do plan on talking about the whole Ebony K. Williams and Iyanla conversation because, in my opinion, Ebony did not say anything wrong. And I just don't understand why people are so confused and they're trying to conflate 2 separate issues like she was looking down on people when she wasn't. All she was saying is that she wants a man at her financial level or who has more. And she's right. So I'm not understanding the backlash that she's getting. But that's another video for another day, which I definitely plan on doing because Ebony, girl, we are right here on the same page. Now, this next scene with Sanya at home had me confused and completely blown. Her sister and her brother-in-law tried it. When Sanya was asking her brother-in-law about if he likes being her assistant, and he was like, well, it's a lot of work. You're always asking me to do stuff like setting up meetings, and you always want to do a podcast or an interview. It's a lot. And I said, well, sir, what did you think an assistant did? I don't understand the logic. And then finding out that he wants to be in real estate, but he hasn't been doing a good job at it. So she said, well, let me just hire you as my assistant. Absolutely not. That brother-in-law would be at somebody's 9 to 5 immediately because he would not be working for me. And also, since he's working for Sanya now, I'm sure she's paying him a nice salary, so he doesn't have enough money to move him, his wife, and his kids out. They all have to live under Sanya and Ross's roof. This whole dynamic makes no sense in my opinion. And Sanya's sister really had me blown when she said, Sanya, your problem is that you don't respect boundaries. You have him working and it's like, damn, let him eat his dinner. I said, girl, what don't you understand? When you're somebody's assistant, you're working around the clock. What do you think this is? Your husband is a grown-ass man. He's not a little boy where he's gonna die if he has to work some extra hours. He'll be okay. You guys need money, right? So what are you saying? This is a job. And she's letting you live in her house rent-free. And you have the nerve to talk about, well, you don't respect boundaries? And then when she called Sanya a dingbat, I said, oh girl, you would have been out of my house immediately. You have you, your husband, and your 2 kids living here with us, not paying a bill, but you want to call me a dingbat and tell me that I don't respect boundaries? And I was so surprised when they gave Sanya's sister a confessional. I said, girl, we don't turn this show on to watch you. Why do you have a confessional? And she was like, the thing with Sanya is that she doesn't have a schedule. So she's just up all times of the night. And sometimes she'll come home at 11 p.m. and ask me to take her wig out. Again, it's the least you could do. You're living in your sister's house rent-free, not putting a dime on any of those bills. If she wants you to take her wig out at midnight or 4 a.m., you need to do it with bells on and with a smile. I was like, the entitlement and the gall, because if you're so unhappy with the living conditions, then pack up and move then. Marlo with the life coach, we're skipping right past that. I don't care. Marlo has no storyline. I don't have any interest in watching her pretend like she wants to be a better person. I also can't stand Marlo. So we're gonna skip past her and the life coach, like I said, because I have no interest in even pretending like I care. Now, when we jumped back to Shereé, she had on her She by Shereé jogger set, right? And it was a cute set, I'll give her that. But when production showed us that it was 274 American dollars, I said, you have got to be kidding me.
No.
That set gave us Amazon or Fashion Nova and it needs to come down in the price. I said, Shereé just cannot help herself. She's gonna always miss the mark. She knows good and damn well that that set should be no more than $49.99. Girl, you are not fear of God. This is not Lululemon. Like, I'm trying to think of all the high-end athleisure. You saw what happened to Ivy Park, sis. So why are you out here trying to charge $300 for a damn workout set? I just will never understand Sheree's logic. I truly won't. Because things aren't clicking in her pea brain. But Sanya comes over and I just rolled my eyes. I said, Sanya, you're on the losing team. Sheree's gonna turn on you the way she turns on everybody else. So now we're introduced to Sheree's new friend, Courtney. Shereé says that she and Courtney go way back. Their kids went to school together and they're just really tight. She says that Courtney's a girl's girl, no nonsense, and a great person. Now, anybody who's friends with Shereé, I'm already side-eyeing you. So when Courtney came through the door, I was like, okay, girl, I guess. Courtney's vibe to me was off. I got instant clout chaser, desperate to be on TV. I got the thirsty, dehydrated, and parched vibes from her off rip, okay? And a quick side note, Courtney reminds me so much of Mia from Potomac. They have similar voices. And if you watch my Potomac reviews, then you know how I feel about Mia. So, yeah. But they sit down to talk about Sanya's party for Ross. She's like, I'm just so excited. It's Harlem Nights theme, and it's gonna be lit. So she says that she invited all the ladies, including Drew. Then she says that she's just so tired of Drew, child, and how Ralph was the one who RSVP'd and not Drew. Now, a quick side note, I thought it was really interesting that we didn't see Drew this entire episode. So now Sonia brings up that Candy's gonna be there, and so Courtney interjects and she's like, Candy seems cool, we're in similar circles. So the minute that Courtney said that, I said she's already gonna be on some BS. So Courtney tells this story about she got a call from one of her friends saying that Candy was asking about her, wanting to know who she was, and how Candy had heard that she was going around saying that they were friends. So she's playing dumb, talking about, now why would I say that we were friends? I don't even know her like that. But yeah, she's going around asking about me, telling people to check my IG out, trying to find out more about me. And it's like, I don't need to clout chase. And I'm thinking, Courtney, this makes no sense. I can assure you that Candy and her 50-11 jobs, she is not thinking about you.
I don't know if I told you this, but I thought this was interesting. Did I tell you she was calling around asking some people about me? And she was like, I heard she said that we were friends.
What?
Wait.
Why would I say we're friends?
So she's going around
and
telling
pulls up
people-
my Instagram. She's like, what do you know about?
Courtney is giving desperate. You're reminding me of Sheree's other friend from last season who was also a desperado trying to be full-time. So here goes Shereé, because Shereé doesn't rest. Shereé lives to make a hateful comment about Candy. So she's like, well, that doesn't surprise me because Candy has a lot of time on her hands these days. She's still talking about me, making videos and spoofs about me. It seems like the only time she's not talking about me or somebody else is when she's eating or... And I'm like, Shereé, this is what I'm talking about. You always have some reckless stuff to say about somebody. Then when somebody calls you out, you want to play dumb. Why was that necessary to say about Candy? Candy's not up here talking about you. You're running your mouth about her, and then she responds back to you. And Shereé, not too much, because in the first scene of this episode, you admitted to almost having a threesome with your raggedy ex-husband. So let's not with the slut shaming. I hate how they do that. It's so annoying. And Sheree's so low down, it wouldn't surprise me if she put Courtney up to this whole thing. They probably came up with this stupid storyline like, yeah, girl, say that Candy was asking around about you and that will get you on the show full time for season 16. I see right through Shereé. Sanya made it clear that she wanted no parts in this talk about Candy. She was like, look, me and Candy are good. And those short scenes where they were all getting ready for Ross's party, and then we see Marlo at home talking to Rico Chappelle, and Rico was asking her if she had seen the videos that Candy was doing about her and Shereé. And when Marlo said, well, girl, stick to that because Broadway didn't work out for you, and that singing ain't working out for you either. And I'm like, okay, but Candy was just nominated for a Tony and an Emmy for the piano lesson that's on Broadway. So what are you talking about? Like, Marlo, you make no sense. I understand if you don't like somebody, but don't lie on them and try to downplay their accomplishments. Then in the next breath, Marlo said that she thought the videos were funny. So I'm confused. Like, girl, you just shaded her for those videos. Now you're saying you love the videos, thought they were so funny? Marlo is a weirdo. I think that Marlo is obsessed with Candy. I think that she wants to be Candy. I think she's also extremely envious of Candy and Candy's wealth because her fixation on Candy and trying to tear her down every time is weird. Marlo honestly doesn't know whether she wants to like Candy or hate her. That's how bad her obsession is. And somebody please let me know, how can you be mad at somebody getting back at you after you said such disgusting things about them on national TV? Whatever Candy says to you going forward is fair game. So again, Marlo, if Candy wants to make all these videos about you, she has every right. Marlo and Shereé both want to be victims and villains at the same time. And like I've always said, that's just not how this works. You can't be both. Pick a side. And Marlo, besides this fake storyline about you and this life coach, what do you have going on? I'll wait. You want to talk about, well, she doesn't have much going on, stick to that because that's not working out for you. Girl, stop. And you better hope that you're asked back to be on this show for the next season. Now, we get to the last scene of the episode, and it's the night of Ross's 40th birthday party. Sanya, I'm going to give you credit where credit is due. You did that. You have come a long way from what you did last season because that party that you threw for Shereé was a hot ass mess and you and I both know it. You had those store-bought beef patties and a broken photo booth. So you went from spending $54.96 to spending $100,000. I said, well, cheers to you, sis. I have to give you your propers on that one because you did that. The venue was nice, open bar, dancers, a DJ. Good job, okay? 2 points for you. Now, I thought it was interesting when Ralph showed up solo and he was like, well, you see what happened was Drew's not feeling well and she's also had a family emergency. So it's just me tonight because I still have to support my boy. And when Kenya said, if your wife is having a family emergency, you're her family. You need to be with your wife, not with us. And I'm like, Kenya, are you surprised though? Ralph is a terrible husband. So do you really expect him to be there and make sure that his wife is okay? No, he's all about himself. The way I am itching to see this divorce play out. I can't wait. There's gonna be about 3 bottles of champagne in this bucket. But everybody's there. Sanya and Ross make their grand entrance. And now we see Shereé and Martel come through. So Kenya was like, why is he here? Why is he on her arm? And Candy had me on the floor. She was like, last year it was community service. This year it's community property. And I see that Shereé's in her feelings about what Candy said because I see her going off on Twitter and it's like, Shereé, the point still remains that you're with a serial cheater who does not respect women and is already embarrassing you because he's out and about with other women. But yet you want to catch an attitude and try to clap back at Kenya and Candy via Twitter. Now, when Kenya went over to Shereé and Martel and she was like, okay, so is it official? And I think Martel said, well, we're officially dating. And then Shereé was like, why is Kenya so damn nosy? Worry about Mark taking half of your house. And I'm like, if that's your good friend, why would you say that? Also, there's nobody that's nosier than Shereé. Shereé calls herself the bone collector. She's always trying to find tea on other people. So why is she mad that somebody's asking her a simple question about what's going on between her and Martel? If it were the other way around, she'd be in Kenya's face asking Kenya about her new man and if they're official or not. I just hate Shereé's attitude where it's like, she's allowed to question other people, but nobody can ever question her. But I was glad when Kenya ate you up in her confessional and she said Shereé needs a spin-off show called Watch Me Date All These Dumb Dudes.
You know what? It's too much.
Seeing the two desperados talking to each other, Marlo and Courtney. Of course, you have Marlo trying to fish for information. She's like, Sanya told me the other day that Candy was looking you up and asking about you. And Courtney says, yeah, when I was in Paris, one of my friends called me up and told me that Candy was asking about me. And I'm like, I'm not desperate for friends. And I said, yes, you are. And you're desperate to be on this show. And here goes Marlo chomping at the bit because, again, she lives to make Candy look bad. So she's like, well, yeah, you definitely need to talk to Candy about this. And I'm like, Marlo, shut up. Why do you want to stir up all this mess at somebody else's birthday? Like, just stop. But we see Kenya, Candy, and Monyetta talking about Shereé and Martel. And they want to know if they should tell Shereé about the streets, talking about Martel is seeing other women. So Candy's like, look, I don't know. There's a chance that Martel could have told her all this. Like, we just don't know. If it's all over the blogs about Martel zipping it and zooming it with other women in Atlanta, I am pretty sure that Shereé has seen these same blogs. And I'm sure that she already knows. So I don't think that I would open my mouth and mention this. Or I would at least wait until we were in a private setting, but I wouldn't do this at Ross's party. But these last scenes were so chaotic because we see Kenya, Monyetta pull Shereé to the side, and then we see Courtney coming over to Candy, and already Courtney's energy was off. Like, even Candy felt it because her facial expression was kind of like, girl, what do you have going on? Like, what are you about to say? So Courtney's like, our mutual friend Dina called me up while I was in Paris, and she was asking me if I had said that me and you were friends. And then she goes on to say that she would never say that because she's not desperate for friends. So Candy makes it clear that she didn't say anything of the sort. She's like, somebody asked me if I knew you, and all I said was, I don't know her. Me and you have a mutual friend in common named Dina, and that's where it starts and that's where it stops for me. And Courtney, here's where you made yourself look crazy. Because when you snapped at Candy and you said, well, I never said that. All I said was that me and you are in similar social circles. And I'm thinking there was no reason for Courtney to start raising her voice and taking this conversation from 0 to 100. I was irritated for Candy. And honestly, if I were Candy, I would have walked away. Because I already know what you're trying to do. You're desperate, you're pathetic, you're a loser, and you want a moment, and you want to be on this show so badly. But I would not have given Courtney a moment. I would have paid Courtney dust because this conversation is so stupid. And it's clear that you're grasping at straws. And I loved how Candy was like, okay, girl, so what's all this energy that you're giving me? Because it's really not that deep. And then here you go with Courtney getting crazy. I'm like, baby, why are you screaming? Why are you mad? All Candy is doing is trying to get to the bottom of what you're talking about. You came to her with this. She didn't approach you. So Courtney and Candy start going at it. Candy reiterates that she was shown a picture of Dina and Courtney, and she said, I know Dina, but I don't know her. That's it. That's all. It wasn't that deep. At this point, Courtney obviously was drunk or something because the way she started screaming, talking about, I'm just disappointed because I'm not a clout chaser. And I'm thinking, yes, you are. You know that you're pulling this story out of your ass because we all know that Candy does not have time to be asking about who somebody is. Especially about a wannabe who's trying to get on a show that she's been on for 14 years. But when things got really heated, when Courtney tried to get in Candy's face, and then she was like, girl, calm the F down. And when Candy started screaming, and she was like, I'm about to headbutt this bitch right now. I said one thing about Candy, She will always threaten to headbutt somebody.
Energy you just, but you just bounced up at me. Well, stop bouncing at me. Well, bitch, don't you bitch. Okay, you better. I'm about to headbutt this bitch. Okay. No.
I remember when she said that to Nene when they got into it when she first came on the show. But yeah, I don't need to see Courtney on my screen. This needs to be it. She's clearly reaching. She wants to be on this show badly, and this wasn't it. She made herself look stupid, and there was no reason for you to get in Candy's face like that and just be nasty. She was out of order. And the fact that you own a marketing company and you're a jewelry designer, you should be especially embarrassed to show out like this. And this argument was so stupid. But we end the scene with Kenya and Monyetta telling Shereé off to the side about Martel, how he's out here with other women in Atlanta. Sheree's like, well, where's she at then? Because I'm a Ferrari, and if he's cheating on me with another woman, then she's a Toyota.
Girl, honey, this is Ferrari. This is a Ferrari, honey. If he's cheating with another girl, that's like a Toyota. Now, if you want to downgrade it, that's on him.
I said, if you believe that you're a Ferrari, then why were you dating a man in prison? Let's start there. Shereé, you have very low self-esteem. Stop trying to act like you feel so great about yourself, because clearly with the choices that you've made when it comes to men, you don't think that highly of yourself. You should have never been with Tyrone in the first place. So please miss me with all this talk about how you're just it, because obviously you don't feel that way about yourself. And now you've moved on to a man who has dogged all these other women out. So again, sis, if you feel so highly about yourself, you would not be seeking after men who have very poor character. Just my 2 cents. And then Kenya drops the news that Martel slid in her DMs first, and she wanted to tell her before Shereé found out from anybody else. So Sheree's all defensive. She's like, girl, let me see the DMs then. And then she says, well, Martel's here, so let's have him come over and let's settle this. I was like, Kenya, like I said in the beginning, I would have kept my mouth shut about that.
You should know that he did slide into my DMs before.
Let me see it.
As a friend, I just want somebody to be honest with me.
Yeah, well, let me see it.
I wouldn't have said anything. I would have let that go. Nothing even happened between you two, so why even bring that up? But I said the next episode looks like it's going to be really good. We're going to see Kenya and Martel get into it. I said, okay, let's see how everything goes now between Shereé and Kenya and how their friendship pans out throughout this season. Because it looks like they're on the outs now. But guys, that's where the episode ends. And I have to say, I was really entertained by this premiere episode. I feel like they did a good job. It was a solid premiere. Definitely had my attention. I got those old school vibes again, and I was excited. I think that we're gonna have a good season. Like, I'm really optimistic. But y'all, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.